Russian human rights activist Bahrom Khamroev was sentenced to 14 years in prison. The reason was the accusation of the member of Memorial was his post in social networks about the persecution of Muslims and mass criminal cases about the activities of the organization Hizb ut-Tahrir, as well as his complaints and petitions to the courts, including the European Court of Human Rights.
Bahrom protected people. He did not care whether they were from Hizb ut-Tahrir, rich or poor. He defended anyone. He was not afraid of the authorities and criticized them. Zuhra Khamroeva, wife of a human rights activist, in an interview with The Insider.
The Prosecutor General's office also approved the charge against media manager Ilya Krasilchik, who is accused of spreading fakes about the Russian army. Krasilchik is outside of Russia. The Ministry of Internal Affairs put him on the international wanted list.
What will happen to the people will depend on whether it will be possible to somehow restore what is minimally called civil society, when there are some ways to express one's personal opinion.
You don't have to be a human rights activist or just an activist to go to prison or get a fine. Even an unfortunate phrase on Instagram can also allegedly become a threat to the security of the Federation. A resident of Chita who previously had the impudence to share his dream about the president of Ukraine was fined 120,000 rubles in the case of repeated discredit of the Russian army. Reason: Ivan Losev posted an anti-war phrase on a social network. Andrei Kolesnikov, a resident of the Orenburg region, according to the investigation, rehabilitated Nazism by reposting publications about the cooperation of the USSR with Nazi Germany and Russian fascism.
We believe that Kolesnikov is being persecuted unlawfully. From our point of view, a discussion on historical topics, even if it includes a free or incorrect interpretation of facts and harsh assessments, should not become a reason for criminal prosecution, unless accompanied by calls for violence, hatred and discrimination, and there were no such calls in the publication. From the publication of the Information and Analytical Center Sava.
Apparently, the authorities are going to repress citizens in Russia on an even larger scale. In the Primorsky region near the village of Knevichi, they intend to build a city pre-trial detention center with an area of 22 hectares. Future prisoners are promised comfortable conditions. For example, the room for one detainee will be increased from 4 to 7 square meters. The complex will include walking areas, sports grounds, rooms for meetings with relatives, as well as housing for employees.
It will be a whole large town, which will include security buildings, a management building, a gym, canteens and a sewing workshop. 2 residential buildings, warehouses and boiler houses are planned to be built. Sergei Shapilov, head of capital construction and repair of the Federal Penitentiary Service of Russia for the Primorye region, in an interview with the channel Vesti Primorye.
It is expected that as early as 2027, Russia will start building new state-owned housing for opposition-minded Russians. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Yulia Granovska, UATV News.